Welcome, a very warm welcome everyone. Namaste and a very good morning to each and every person joining us for the meeting today. And it's an immense pleasure for me to have Miss Surbhi over here with us today. She has got a decade, I think 2 decades of experience. 2 decades of experience in L&D domain, and she has worked at senior positions in L&D department. And it's something which is exciting, immensely exciting for me, because I am also from the same domain, having worked in L&D for, again, more than 2 decades. And I'm also helping people in the L&D field, or people who want to get into the L&D domain or want to become a trainer, and by helping them to give them direction towards what to do and how to achieve their goals in this domain. So that is what is my passion, and with that passion, because of the same reason, this meeting, the club, has been formed. This club is a part of PlanMyTrainings domain, which is my own venture. About 10 years back, I started off with this domain, PlanMyTrainings.com. I'm the founder of PlanMyTrainings.com, director of Salakar Consultants. I am associated with them for their clients for HR outsourcing activities, L&D skills, and all these things. So that is about the initiative. PlanMyTrainings.com is a domain for trainers and learners to get training insights, and also it's a platform for trainers to portray their profile, to put up their programs, their trainings, courses and all. So this is an initiative that I have started with. PMT Club, our Saturday club meeting of 11 o'clock, from 11 to 12, we meet, and every week we have one or the other new initiative or something which is exciting for everyone, maybe some speeches, some activities. Today is our second podcast, interview podcast. So this is a part of the theme that we dwell on. We dwell on speaking platform, speaking opportunities, on interview podcasts, conferences, webinars, seminars, even face-to-face conferences in hotels. That is what these are the things that we focus on. Basically, I started with this club to give it an opportunity for my students. This is the club wherein my students can come, speak, practice speaking, practice training activities, and that's how they polish their skills. So with that purpose, I started off this club, and then we started all these new activities like we are having today. All right, so that is the major background about this initiative and why we all are here. And as you all know, today's session is very, very special, because I have a guest. Yes, I mentioned Surbhi, Miss Surbhi Tankha. She is having immense experience in L&D, so we both would discuss what are the opportunities in this particular domain, how to grow in this domain, what are the current trends in the L&D field, how organizations are looking at the L&D initiatives, what is it that they look for in a trainer when they hire trainers. These are some of the things that we will be discussing. So you will be getting lots of insights about what's going on in the market, what's going on in the organizations, and for you, what are the opportunities that are in store. So I would like to welcome once again each and every one of you. Towards the end, we will have question answer session. So feel free to ask your questions, your queries, whatever you have, and we both will be happy to help you out.
Well, Lucky, that was a wonderful introduction to the club, and you rightly mentioned it. It ought to be very close to our hearts, because we've been doing this, and I think what drives each one of us here is the passion that we have for this particular domain. So I congratulate you on forming this club, and it's a great initiative. And I truly appreciate this effort.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms.
You're
Surbhi.
welcome.
So, Surbhi, how has it been in L&D? I can see from your face the glow that's coming on your face with the name of L&D field, how it has been. What's been your journey? Can you share that?
This question till date makes me very, very nostalgic. And before we commence, I would like to thank everybody who's here today. And it shows that somewhere you do have an interest that lies within, and you want to know more about this particular domain, or you're already working in this domain and want to advance your skills and see that, you know, how well it adds on any kind of value to each one of us. So like I said, the reason I always smile year to year when I hear about L&D is because it runs through my veins, you know. It is in my DNA. And why I say that it is nostalgic is because when I started Lucky, it has been 22 years. I have, practically spent half my life doing what people today like to pick as their career. So I would like to go back in the days when I started my career in 2002. L&D did not exist. We're talking about L&D today, but let me tell you, it was only training. It was only a very mechanical kind of training that existed. And training has evolved significantly into learning and development from 2002 till the present day. You know, training programs were often more traditional, only to kind of download and deliver information that was, you know, to be given to the employees either by an instructor or via printed material. You know, the essence of the training in terms of fostering the learning was a complete miss. And over the years, you know, especially in 2009 and 10, when L&D actually picked up its roots, I think that's when L&D cultivated into a stronger formation for the people who were already into training. So my journey as an individual who takes pride in the domain that I picked up for myself and I turned it into my career has been both extremely fulfilling and rewarding. I think I've evolved as an individual, and I continue to do that. You know, L&D now places a greater impact on the outcome that an organization or an entity demands. You know, the kind of learning experiences that are there, I think that's what keeps me going. So my mantra to anything that I do since the time I started up till this very moment is continuous learning.
Fantastic. I felt as if this is another me speaking. I have very similar experience, very similar viewpoint. When I started off, I would say I take a lot of pride, and I'm very lucky that I got the opportunity right in the beginning of my career to handle the training function. And again, it was something which was very new in India. My company was taken up by a German company. So it was taken over by a German multinational. So they initiated this, and I was given this opportunity as a management training. And yes, at that time, training was only in terms of the brochures that used to come for management development programs, and few managers could be sent there, and that's it.
Absolutely. You know, I reciprocate that thought. You know, I know over the years there has been a paradigm shift, you know, and this shift I bet has been driven by the advancements in the technology, you know, the changes in the workspace, the mindset shift that has come in people today, wherein they want to pick this as a career opportunity. So I completely reciprocate when you say that, you know, back then it was the BPO culture, you know, and then we evolved into the KPOs, the RPOs, today into IT and consulting. And all throughout, we've realized the fact, and that is one thing I want everybody here, who's joined to know that we were only a support function, you know. And I am so happy that we are no longer just a support function. We are an enabling function. We play the most crucial role in the success of the organization.
Absolutely. And even I tell this to my students that strategic position is something that we as L&D professionals need to focus on. We need to be strategic partners for the organization.
Absolutely.
And not just the coordinating or implementing domain.
Absolutely. I echo that thought, being a thought partner in making those strategic decisions and taking training to the next level, I think is the game, today.
Yeah, in fact, I very often think that it is a kind of another evolution theory that has came in L&D, like Darwin's theory. There is another evolution theory we can frame from the way it has evolved from that position to current situation, wherein there is a blended learning of online and offline and recorded courses. There's a complete blended learning, and we people in training domain and even the learners, they need to adapt to
Absolutely.
the changes that
adaptability and continuous learnings are two terms that we'll keep reiterating, and I think that should be the sole mantra. As we dwell further, I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
So going further, how did you climb up the ladder? What were the changes in your career? I would like to listen from you.
The changes have been massive, but I can't also deny the fact that when we are working, the ups and downs are bound to happen. So like I said that, and you also mentioned that we got this opportunity very early in our career. So I remember clearly that, my parents wanted me to study BDS and I was nowhere close to it. And having studied humanities, how this opportunity came in so early in my life that I never looked back. I think the kind of compassionate person I am, that allowed me to bond well, with my trainees. And initially it was only a classroom trainer kind of a role that I was doing, more around the accent neutralization, soft skills. Like you said, the clients would tell us that what was the need and fulfilling that. However, as I progressed very early on itself, I think it was about 2004, I realized that it's way more than that. Now is the time I need to also understand how can I go beyond into content, so I took that opportunity. I took that opportunity on my own without anybody, telling me to do that. And from there, I also got into the role of being a training coordinator, to see that how that coordination works and how that allows you to build in your connect with your stakeholders, your clients, the overall, training management. From there, I think the growth has been, I would not call it very fortunate, because I've worked tirelessly towards it. Then being into training manager, and then eventually, learning the latest trends. And there came a time wherein I switched, and in 2007, I was actually, nominated to lead the entire government initiatives. So that was again a paradigm shift from training the corporates to now heading all the universities across the globe, along with the government entities also. So I think that shift, if I would have blocked my mind, I would not have been able to achieve. Hence, my growth never stopped. And then leading on to entire strategic teams and becoming the L&D expert, I think that evolution happened when I took those steps one at a time and never tried to jump. And again, in all that I achieved over the years, one thing that had been my constant has been continuous learning.
Fantastic. So I always, again, I tell this to my students that being a trainer, the first thing is to become a good learner.
Absolutely.
training is a domain wherein we need to constantly keep learning, we need to keep adapting, we need to keep evolving our own skills, our own methodologies, our own ways of working, and we need to adapt to the changes that are happening in this domain as well.
Well,
So what are
Naki, yeah, sorry to interrupt. But when you said that, the ability to learn and be open, I think one thing that comes to my mind and that everyone should really pay attention to is that as trainers, and I've been in that space personally, I'd not shy away from saying that as trainers and being good orators, we feel that we've achieved everything. However, it is very good that if you're a good orator, but if you're not a good listener being into this domain, I think you'd fall back.
Absolutely.
So it is equally important for you to listen to what the other person expects from you, what the trainees are, saying and not saying verbally, and then accordingly put across the value that you want to bring, in that employee learning and in the capability that you're trying to build.
Absolutely. So what are the current trends? You are in a corporate working. What are the current trends pertaining to wherever you have worked and whatever you are functions that you are handling or have handled?
Well, that's a very good question again, because like I said, that training, we have evolved, and even in L&D, the current trends are focused on leveraging technology. It is very, very important to continuously evolve, enhance the effectiveness of your programs. And some of the trends are micro-learning, because we cannot get onto the traditional training methods. Micro-learning offers us, to pick on the bite-sized tailor-make deliveries, and that really, really helps. So first thing, as a trend, I'd say it's micro-learning. Second thing is personalized coaching and mentoring. That is very, very important. The personalized learning paths allow you to actually develop and work on the training plans which are individual focused. And this trend, specifically helps feel more engaged, with them, and it motivates them more that, you're doing something specifically for them. You're not, throwing them into the generic pool. There's a training plan that is only emphasizing on the needs where they fall short of. Then the third thing I'd say is a technology that we are still trying to work more on. Of course, it has been implemented. Even our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has launched it as one of the initiatives in the Northeast, which is around the AR and the VR, the augmented and the virtual reality. And very soon, the immersive technologies that stimulate, the entire real world experience is also going to be a huge part of the L&D framework. And I urge everyone to kind of get their hands on. Even if it's not a part of their organization, you have opportunities available via different organizations to give you that experience. So the third is the augmented and the virtual reality. And the fourth is the data-driven learning. Analytics, we all know, is a very, very crucial part of everything that we do today in our workplace. And data is one thing that speaks volumes and also helps us evaluate the return on investment of what we do. So that is very critical. And I think last but not the least is the continuous learning culture. Culture for me is very, very important. We just can't do a one session and expect the outcome in return. I think encouraging employees to engage in lifelong learning processes for their individual and professional growth. And this is one trend, out of a couple of them that I spoke about right now, which really fosters great culture in any organization and space where we are. So I think by incorporating these trends, any individual who's into this domain can do really, really well.
Absolutely, great insights. And I would say that yes, culture building is one of the things that an L&D professional in any organization can work on, because this
Correct.
is one of the initiatives of the organizations which can lead to specific ways of thinking and working for others in the organization.
Absolutely, and that is a must, you know. You may want to compromise on anything else, but if your culture gets impacted, there's no way you can build anything else.
Absolutely. Is there any initiative of culture building that you have taken in your career? How did it work?
Well,
What did you
many actually. Over the last 2 decades plus, my major stint has been with some of the giants in the market. And to name so, I think my largest span that I've spent has been with Genpact for about 13 and a half, 14 years. And culture has mattered to us quite a lot. I think there were a lot of cross-cultural training initiatives. As somebody who's been trained on the 7 habits of highly effective people, the true colors, the MBTI, I did launch a couple of initiatives around the personality traits, because it is very important for an individual to know that what, according to their personality, demonstrates their behavior in a particular environment. And I think that really worked, because we were in a cross-cultural environment. So cross-cultural trainings, the psychological aspects, and a lot of team building exercises were a few initiatives that I took, and I continue to do so.
Fantastic, fantastic. So again, this is something which is another topic which is very close to my heart, the personality assessment, because I have also been involved in these initiatives at various companies as an employee, as the L&D professional, and as a consultant as well. In fact, we in Salakar, we designed our own DTAW, which is actually MBTI in Indian version. Based on the Indian culture. It has been adapted to Indian culture, and we name it as Daftuar types at work. So MBTI has one of the types of tests which is called as types of work. We have adapted it to the Indian culture, Indian managerial styles, and all those things, and based on that we have designed this particular
I'd love
test.
to take the test to see that where I stand.
Absolutely.
Sure.
We would love to share it with you.
Certainly, I'd look forward to that.
Okay, and for the audience here, I would like to ask you, what should a person focus on? What are the skills that corporates are looking forward to? Like, what are the topics or what are the skills that are in demand today? If I ask, if there is a person who is planning to become a trainer, to pick up some of the specific domains in training, which topics they should think about and focus on pertaining to what is the demand in the corporate?
Well, if we specifically talk about, the L&D domain, I think people nowadays are quite attracted towards this. So first and foremost, we need to really understand that what do we want to bring to the table? What value do I want to add to this particular domain? Because before I talk about the skill set and the qualities that the organizations today look out for, Lucky, I'd also like to mention that after some point, and you would agree to it, after some point, this is one domain which makes you feel that you've become stagnant if you do not focus on your continuous learning. Because I've always believed, like I said, that little knowledge is very dangerous, and you cannot go back to the time wherein you feel that Google can help you, whatever you've learned so far can really save you. No, that is not going to be the case at all. So I strongly believe that today what is really important for an individual to have is to obtain relevant education and training for the domain. Back then, it wasn't available. Today, you have means, you can pursue degrees and certifications in L&D domain, like instructional designing, training, any related field to build, your experience and have that strong foundation to get into this domain. Secondly, what is also very important is to gain practical knowledge. People think, okay, I've attained a certification, I've done a LinkedIn learning course or something from Udemy and any other advanced course like GSDC, but seeking opportunities to gain hands-on. Until you don't get your hands dirty, you're not going to be there in the game. And like any other domain, L&D also requires you to thoroughly, go through either internships, volunteer work, do anything. There's no work which is smaller or bigger if you have an interest to do that. So get your hands dirty, get into the trainings, shadow batches, be with the mentors, Third thing is developing technical skills. So I keep reiterating the fact that technology leads us today. Okay, we
Absolutely.
are not leading it. It's technology that's leading us. However, I also kind of have a difference of an opinion personally. I think that I am in a domain which technology would never be able to fully take over, whether it's AI as well. My individual contribution would forever play a very important role. Having said that, it is very important to develop technical skills, familiarizing yourself with learning management tools. I'm not saying get on to learn all the LMS tools. At least be acquainted with one or two tools. Let's say Article 360, your Articulate 360, or any tool, because once you have gotten your hands dirty, you know how to practice the tools, how to leverage the tool, what can it do for you. I think then you can pretty much do anything. So that is very, very important. Fourth thing I'd say is networking and seeking mentorship. So that's what we're doing right now. We're networking here, we are seeking mentorship. Whenever my people come to me and talk about certain trends, how they can deliver a particular training differently, how can the content be moderated, I think different minds have different perspectives, and that's what keeps it alive. It is very important to connect with professionals in the domain, thoroughly join the networking events. There is so much that is happening, and I think as much as pandemic hit us, it has also opened up avenues for us to be in the game by virtually allowing us to connect so much.
Absolutely.
And I think last but not the least, stay informed, continuously learn, stay updated with the industry trends. And one thing that I've always told people, and I have personally done it, and that's why I was able to share that as an experience, is never ever think that you know it all. You would never know it all. Every day in the market, in the industry, there's something that adds on more value. Always be open to that learning and brainstorm with the person. So I think these are a few things that not only organizations, but an individual himself or herself should aim to look at within themselves.
Absolutely, and very rightly said that never stop learning, never consider yourself to be an expert of something. Yes, we all need to keep evolving, we all need to keep learning, and that is the mantra to excel in any domain per se.
Absolutely.
And your another point that technology is the leader, absolutely, that is the situation. And we trainers need to adapt to this particular changing thing that is happening. We teach others that we need to adapt, we need to evolve, all these things, but we ourselves also need to do that for our own sake. We need to adapt, and we need to use technology for the way we are using today. It was very difficult for me to bring people together on one platform few years back from now. We used to have sessions in hotels, in physical locations, and there used to be cost involved and everything. Here we all are together, listening, talking to each other. And yes, that was the thing, that was the reason when you said that it's not only about your own knowledge, we need to learn from others. And that's what that was my thought as well. We resonate so much in our thoughts, and that's why I invited you to take your perspectives. I've been talking about L&D career, L&D domain, about how to excel in this field. I talk about this in all my videos and everywhere. But yes, I wanted to bring more thoughts, more perspectives, and more ways of thinking, working for people out here. Thank you once again.
Thank you. No, thanks. Pleasure's all mine, Lucky. And no matter how many years we end up spending, different perspectives always play a very, very healthy role. We learn how to do things differently. And you know what? Something very exciting came to my mind just now. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share this with people here, because I see we do have a lot of young, energetic generation that has joined us. So a couple of years back, I was leading one of the corporate leadership skills session, and it was an external session. I had traveled, remember, to Dubai for it. And somebody asked this question that, what do you think is a difference in a 60-year-old CEO of a corporate firm and a 30-year-old CEO? And everybody came up with different answers, different perspectives. Somebody said age, experience, education. Well, with due respect to all of that, my answer, and I'm not boasting about it, but I think my answer really made everybody think that, okay, yes, that's what it should be. And my answer was thinking about doing the same old thing in the new way. And that's what we call innovation today. Never ever feel that if I say something, it is not going to match up to what is already going on in the market. Well, we are always open to new thoughts, new ideas, and that's what cultivates into greater success, So that's one thing which stayed with me always, never shy away. There's no silly question. Well, let me tell you, there's never a silly question, but the answer can certainly be stupid at times.
Yeah. All right. So I have another question, which is very specific. Probably many people who want to grow in the training domain and want to become a trainer would like to listen to, is when organizations look for a trainer, what do they look for in them? What is it that gets highlighted, and why do they hire one particular trainer and do not hire another one?
Okay, you mean when they are onboarding somebody for a project who's already in training?
Yes.
Okay, well, I think the most crucial thing, is the expertise in a particular domain. L&D is not only limited to communicative skills and soft skills and personality development. It's way more than that. So the first thing is the expertise that the person brings to the table, the kind of experience the person has, the kind of effective communication and articulation skills that the trainer has, because you never know who your audience is going to be. That is very important. And I think last but not the least is how well assertive, empathetic, and collaborative the person is. Okay, so that brings to me another question. Many experienced professionals, they come to me to get into the training domain, to become a trainer. Of course, this is something which I tell them, you have your own experience, you have your own expertise, you have gained a decade of experience into something which is the skill that you can leverage on. And not every organization would look for experience as a trainer as a major point to
to pick you up as a trainer, to give you that particular assignment or not. It's also about your experience and expertise that you have. Because of the experience and expertise you have, you will be picked as a trainer for that particular skill that you already.
Absolutely. And I think we did have a participant here, who did not belong to the training domain, I guess. And so even if you have a niche or a skill set in a particular domain, let's say banking and finance, or let's say customer services, let's say healthcare, or any specific domain, and you are a subject matter expert, you can hone those skills and you can be into training. You have a particular set of an expertise, you have gained experience, like I said, you know how to cascade that information and knowledge, share it with people. So why not? As like any other skill, training is also something that can be mastered.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Correct. So that gives the validation of the thoughts and perspectives that I have and I share with my students.
Absolutely. However, there's one more thing that I personally believe, and I've seen it over the experience that I have over different, by working with different corporates, different universities, different government entities. I think if somebody wants to get into the domain, what is also very important is not neglecting to understand the business context. Now, whatever that is, whatever business, whatever expertise, whatever domain that you want to get into, training can be a part of everything. Lucky, are you saying anything? I think you're on mute.
Your voice had gone in between.
Oh, am I audible now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is that if you want to get into training, even if you, bring the expertise, align yourself with what is the expectation of the business and never ever neglect the business context. That's one. Also, what is very, very important is overlooking the importance of needs assessment. In training, the needs assessment plays a very, very crucial role. You should know how to go about doing that and how to effectively bring out the results. Relying solely on traditional training methods, no, venture out, explore, see what you can do better, and bring that to the table, discuss it with the stakeholders. Never ignore any kind of feedback and evaluation. Your feedback and evaluation is the essence that tells you how you're going to be measuring your ROI. And also, one last point that I feel is very important is not failing to prioritize continuous learning. And I think I've repeated it a number of times.
So your point on ROI, that brings another question in my mind, which is very important. How do you do the ROI calculation?
Okay. Now we need to really understand that the ROI is an outcome of how we actually do a TNA. So I'm sure people here who've been into training would really understand, and they must have heard different terminologies like TNI, TNA. So TNA stands for Training Needs Analysis and Training Needs Identification. You can use either of it. In the domain, the TNA plays a very crucial process, especially in L&D. Now, it involves identifying the gaps in the skill set, in the experience, and accordingly, how do you want to bridge those gaps by effectively determining the training initiatives that you want to take. Now, what is happening is, let's say there are 5 people who are here with us right now. Each one of them could have different gaps. And for us to be able to identify those gaps and fill in those gaps, the first thing that is important is to identify. Okay. The first thing is identify the gaps. Now, how would you identify gaps? It can involve gathering information. You can, if they're already working, you can figure it out by their performance evaluations, the kind of feedback that you get for them, how are they well acquainted with the organizational goals and the matrices that are in the place along with the KPIs and the KRAs. Then once you've been able to identify the gaps, you need to define the training objectives. Now, we need to be very cognizant of the fact that one doesn't fit all. Different individuals can have different gaps, and they may need different training initiatives to fill in those gaps. So once you define those training initiatives, you will be able to accordingly create learning plans for them. Third is then defining and designing the training program. Now, somebody may need just like a couple of hours of an intervention to brush up those skills and then do some assignments, wherein somebody would need a longer intervention. So accordingly, you design your training program that, whether it is going to be, a continuous process, I have to do a couple of, interventions, or one intervention can do. After that, you implement that training. Now, when you're implementing those trainings, it is very important that your stakeholders, the people they're working with, are, aligned with that thought. The pre-work can be led by the trainers, but eventually the outcome and what we're talking about, measuring the ROI, has to go in for the business needs, right? So that is important. Then once the training has been delivered in whatever medium we may deem fit in, after that, a proper and a rigorous evaluation mechanism is very important. Just by designing a program and delivering it in the classroom or one-on-one does not help us. An evaluation mechanism, after the training has been completed, it is essential to measure that. Now, how would you want to measure? Whether there is a post-training assignment, whether you want to see that, okay, if the person was making X number of sales and was always falling short to reach a particular target, has he been able to reach value Y and is achieving the targets, if not overachieving? Because if the person, you delivered a training, the person achieved it one day and then again falter back, then I think the training has been a failure. So an evaluation mechanism is very, very important. And I think these are the steps, that help you measure the ROI. Now, how will they help? Because if your training need analysis and these steps have been followed, you would know that what is my return on investment, whether it is in terms of achieving these customer satisfaction score that has gone up, whether in terms of meeting sales targets, whether only the individual performance. Now, this is the process that one needs to follow, but at the same time, we only stop at the evaluation. Beyond that, we leave the person. Okay, fine, we did the training, 3 weeks it's completed, the person's doing well, but how do you know it is going to be a continuous, result in the right way? So always make sure to keep going back, conducting refreshers or one-on-ones with that person, taking regular feedback from the businesses and the stakeholders for that individual. And then do not forget to reward the person. That is what, eventually brings your entire ROI in place. And I think that's what everybody should keep in mind.
Fantastic. That was a great explanation of the entire process. And yes, even I believe that if analysis has been done well, more than 50% of job of effective training has been done.
Absolutely.
So, training need analysis is the major backbone of the entire process. I believe that.
Absolutely. There's no second thought to it. It is like understanding, that alphabet is not 26 letters. Alphabet is one as a whole, and then how you define those letters and, how you move forward. I think TNA is the foundation of any effective training.
Absolutely. I could see a hand raised from someone.
Sure. I can't see, Lucky, if you can take the question.
Okay. So I think, yes, we had a great discussion and we have covered the entire span of what training is, what an individual needs to do to get into this domain, what is expected from the corporates, from a trainer or the training department, and what is the entire process of training domain implementation, the training function. How does that training function works? What is the entire process of training need analysis, identification, implementation, and yes, the entire ADDIE model. Basically, we discussed that. So, is there any concluding remark from your side, or should we start with the question answers?
Well, yes, since we've been talking about a lot as we conclude, this amazing, amazing session, Lucky, and I can't thank you enough for it, because it is only for the like-mindedness that I was very, very open to this session. And I would like to leave you and everyone with one final lesson, that has been instrumental in my journey as an L&D expert. And that lesson is the importance of adaptability and continuous learning. So always be adaptable to change. We never thought that lives would take such a turn, and after the pandemic, we'd stop going to the workplace, the regular routines would be hampered. We'd start working online, and then, entire era would change and technology would become the most crucial role. So be adaptable to any kind of change and continuously learn. There is no end to learning. Continuously learn, and in the ever evolving landscape of the L&D, these two things I think are very, very important.
Absolutely fantastic. There is a question from Shreyanshi Gomes. Yes. Is there any book that you would recommend on L&D?
Okay, specifically on L&D, you mean?
Yes. Yes, with regards to L&D learning.
Hi, Shreyashi.
Hi, Surbhi ma'am.
Hi. I did hear when you were introducing yourself, and you said that, you've been into training. However, you want to kind of gain more experience.
Yes.
So, Shreyashi, there are many books. And before you get into specifically reading a book on L&D and the best practices, I think what is more important is you read something on cultivating the best habits. So one book that I can recommend is Train the Trainer. It is a very useful book. I think it is going to give you a lot of insights on how, a trainer should look at the trainings, how to define that journey, and how during the journey, each step, whether you want to get down off the train, whether you want to board another train, you want to have something, you meet different people, that is going to really, really help you. It gives you a lot of practical insights. So read that book. It's called Train the Trainer.
Train the Trainer. I'll get it on Amazon.
Yes, you can get it anywhere. There are a lot of books on training L&D. It's Train the Trainer. You can read Elevating. You can read the L&D best practices. If you want to advance more, you can read Stephen Covey. If you want to know about personalities of people in training, you can read True Colors. So there is a whole plethora of books out there.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. This TTT,
You're welcome.
I think I had searched in the past.
I can't hear
multiple...
you, Shreyashi.
Is it any better now?
Yes,
Hello?
I guess that's better.
So I was saying that this TTT book that you were talking about, there are multiple books.
Lucky, I lost her voice again. Can you?
She's saying that
name.
there are multiple books with this name. Do you recommend any particular book with the author's name?
I'm sorry,
do you recommend any particular book with the author's name?
Oh, you mean the author's name? I'll type for her. Shreyashi, allow me a minute.
Yes, thank you.
This is the easiest one, and it is by Jimmy Jain. It has picked up, ways considering the Indian mindset, so at a, very nervous, I would say, yet it allows you to take those right steps in the right direction.
Oh, lovely. I'll just make sure I buy it quickly.
Sure.
And start reading it. Thank you so much.
No
Thank
worries.
you for sharing that book and the author's name. I think that will be very helpful for many people out here. There are a few more books on training need analysis also, and yes, rightly, as you have said, that if you want to further think about and further build your expertise in personalities and all, there are books related to those topics as well. And
Absolutely. And the more you advance, the more it is going to help you. There are amazing books like Deep Work by Carl Newport, and that is my personal favorite. And I think it depends, but if you read this book, you may feel that, why have I recommended this book? It's so simple, but if you really give it a thought, you'd know the nuances.
All right. Thank you so much. It was so, all these informations were so insightful and so helpful. Thank you to Lucky Ma'am as well for, organizing this and, bringing Surbhi ma'am here. So I learned a lot. I'm very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure when we come across people, who have passion, and I can actually hear that in the tone, and we feel that we've definitely achieved something if people want to still be in L&D as a domain.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
With mentors like you, and I don't know what to say. I'm really glad and lucky that I got an opportunity to attend this session.
Means a lot. Thank you, Shreyashi.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure for us also, and an honor to have you all here.
Absolutely.
Any other question? I can see another question. How do we gain expertise in training and development? Okay.
I think we did discuss this, but in paucity of time and, since this is a question being asked, I would love to answer this for you. If you want to gain expertise in training and development, you need to first gain knowledge and understanding. You need to really evaluate that, in training and development, what is that one field that I want to pick as my niche? Is it communication skills? Is it personality development? Is it banking domain? Is it anything else? So there is a lot in training and development. So know your expertise first and foremost. Then ensure that you are getting a lot of knowledge. If you have not yet started working, you can get a lot of opportunities to volunteer in training programs. So you may not be giving the training downloads, but you can be there and you can gain a lot of insights in terms of how the trainings are being delivered, what goes behind when you're delivering, how the content is being put together. Then work on your effective communication and presentation skills. That's very, very important. A lot of people think that I am able to speak well, I have a good education foundation, and I may be able to, speak in front of the audience. But that's really not the case when we look at the ground reality. So be there, be a people's person, know how to speak in public. Your public speaking skills play a very crucial role. So acquaint yourself with that, and then accordingly pick up on doing certain courses. There are a lot of courses. I would not recommend you to directly get into doing certifications, but there are mentors, like we doing it here. There are people who take time and effort to actually help you leverage those skills and be ready to present yourself as a trainer, and then eventually get into training and development. So I hope that answers the question. Who asked that question? Let me see.
This was Vishranti.
Yeah.
Vishranti Gharke. Okay. So I hope your question has been answered. Vishranti Gharke. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So I would like to again add here that I have a 6-step process which I have designed, and I recommend to have that as a process to get into the training domain and evolve in this domain. It starts with self-analysis. So understanding yourself, understanding your goals, your passion, understanding yes, identifying a niche for yourself, then getting the speaking practice, presentation, practicing presentation, being more presentable, all those things are there. Building those skills is something which is very important. Then gaining the knowledge of L&D domain, what it is, like we are having today. We got so much about how the L&D domain functions, what are the expectations of corporates, all these things we learned about these things. So get accustomed to the language that is being talked in this particular profession. Then understand the concepts of training and maybe get the train the trainer certification. And again, then the volunteering work would start, wherein you start giving small sessions, do some activities, these kind of clubs, join and give a small session, a small speech or something. And this is how then final step would be to get into the field as an expert. All right, there is another question that I can see. I have just stepped into L&D. Please help me with that, Priyanka Singh. Okay, Priyanka Singh. So, is there anything that you would like to add here, Surbhi, for this particular question?
First and foremost, I'm really happy that you've stepped into the fraternity, and we'd have another L&D expert in the making soon. However, I think all the points that we've talked about today are going to play a very crucial role in this journey that you want to march ahead in the specific domain. Like Lucky right now mentioned about the 6 steps. These 6 steps are going to be very important for you. Training and development is no different than learning and development. It is just that L&D allows you to get more advancements and acquaint yourself also in a lot more strategic way of looking at things. So apart from all that we have discussed, my rather 2 points that you need to keep in mind is try to see around yourself. If you're working with an organization, the kind of businesses and clients you have, you may be working with one particular process right now, but there could be different functions. So look at what each function's demand is from L&D, and accordingly chalk out the entire L&D strategy to see that how your expertise could benefit your businesses and stakeholders. And these 2 things will allow you to grow. And why I actually talked about these 2 points is because you said that you've already stepped into it, which is giving me a fair understanding that you have already been into training. You understand, you've done some bit of training coordination. People get mistaken that, becoming a trainer is only to verbally kind of interact and give the download. No, you have to get your hands on tools and technologies. So do that, and then slowly, I wish you all the best in this role.
Great. So we are already, it's 12 o'clock, so we will have to wind off here. Any questions anybody has, you can offline connect with me, or you can connect with Nidhi from our group. She is my team member, and we would love to help you to understand more about this domain, to understand how to grow in this domain, and to build your career in L&D and training profession. Once again, I would like to thank Ms. Surbhi Tankha.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucky.
It was great pleasure to have you here, and thank you very much. We sent these invites to many people, and it's an honor that you accepted it, and we are here with all these insights about L&D and training domain. And it was so useful, so insightful for everyone out here.
No, the pleasure is all mine, like I said, and I am extremely humbled and overwhelmed. And I do get a lot of these opportunities every day, and I only pick out where I think that I can actually add some value. And today I feel that I must have added some value with the kind of experience that I bring, and I am very open to any discussion if anyone wants to have. Of course, Lucky and teams here, but do feel free to reach out. And as we conclude for the day, I just want to leave you guys on one thought and one quotation by Thomas Edison, which says that many of life's failures were people who never realized how close they were to success when they gave up. So do not give up on your dreams. Keep chasing them, keep learning, and trust me, there's no end to L&D. So I welcome each one of you to this domain, and thank you once again for your questions, for your valuable inputs, and the appreciation towards Lucky and myself.
Thank you so much. Yes, never give up on your dreams and keep chasing your dreams. That is a great thought that you have left us all with.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. And once again, I humbly pay gratitude to each one of you for today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.